Hello everyone. My name is Muiwa Adidayo. I'm a lecturer. I'm also an educational neuroscientist. Today I have something extremely important to discuss with us. And the title of today's video is Developmental and Background Knowledge. 5 ideas, for enhancing reading. 5 ideas for enhancing reading. That is today's topic. But before I go into explaining the themes that are connected to this topic, I think it is important for me to bring to your notice some other related information. Okay, for example, I run an organization that is referred to as Educational Africa Consulting Limited, and we are currently training teachers, school owners, education students, parents, etc. We've launched a new concept that is called a masterclass in educational neuroscience. In fact, as I speak to you now, there is no state in this country that we've not trained participants. And because of the success of the program, we're beginning to have participants from other African countries. So this is the course outline. If you know you're interested, please just leave a comment. I would reach out to you. Educational neuroscience is the number one concept in global education, and it is important, if you know that you don't want to be left behind, that you acquire this knowledge. So once again, the topic is developmental and background knowledge, 5 ideas for enhancing reading. So the what is developmental background knowledge? Developmental and background knowledge has to do with the fact that if a child is born, in fact, data from the neuroscience has shown that children begin to lay down their language architecture even while in the womb. So the language circuitry is laid when the child is even in the womb. So that is why it is important that parents, as soon as they give birth, there are certain things that parents need to know and need to do in order to help to get their words prepared for education. There's a concept today in the reading field. It is referred to as the Matthew effect. And the Matthew effect has to do with the fact that the more parents engage their children, their infants, their toddlers in conversations, the more they read to them, the more they actively engage in whatever these children do. For example, there's a concept called echolalia. Echolalia has to do with the fact that there is, as soon as a child gets to or reaches a certain age, the child starts echoing some words. So it is important that parents listen to whatever the child is echoing at that moment in time. They are to repeat it, and by extension, they are expected to stretch or to stress it. They are to be dynamic in the sense that if the child say car, so the parent is expected to say car, car, car. If the child says da, the parent is expected to say da, 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 or the parents can really mix up the sounds. As the parents are doing all this, the language architecture in the child's brain will begin to be laid down. And this has the capacity of maybe preventing the child from acquiring what is called developmental language disorder or dyslexia when the child begins school. So these are tips that parents are expected to do, to put into practice. And then, according to data from the science of reading, the science of reading is one of the leading concepts in the field of reading today. And that it is important that parents, that teachers, that school owners and others are aware of some of the findings from the data from research in the field of science of reading. And one of them has to do with the fact that reading is something that is acquired. Unlike language is given. A child picks up language easily, spontaneously, especially if the child is exposed to any language in his or her environment. The child picks up that language. But it's not the same thing with reading. Reading is supposed to be taught. okay, in an explicit, systematic, and what, and atomistic manner. So that is an idea that is connected, okay, to this topic. Then the next question has to do with what is the connection between, okay, DBK and reading. Very simple. That a child whose language circuits, whose language system has been laid, because naturally, okay, reading is also a language. So as soon as the child starts schooling, and the school system, okay, starts exposing the child to maybe semantic information, data, etc., the brain, since the language architecture is already laid in the child's brain, so spontaneously the reading architecture is going to evolve and is going to intertwine itself with the language architecture in the brain. So it is important that parents play their own role in this, in the area of developmental and background knowledge, and that before the child starts schooling, the child is expected to have been exposed to some amount of receptive vocabulary. And how does the child get this receptive vocabulary? It has to do with the fact that the more parents engage, okay, in their children, engage them in conversations, okay, in a very lively place. The more parents sing, okay, to their children, there's this idea of a lullaby. The more parents do this, the more parents, okay, integrate simple songs whenever these kids are with them. Is going to do what, that is going to rub off on the child's no, receptive vocabulary. So when the child starts schooling, okay, the child will have some advantage, some academic advantage when he or she begins schooling. So then the next idea has to do with its impact on brain, language, and architecture. Yes, I think I've explained that. So the next thing has to do with what are the 5 ideas that are connected to developmental and background knowledge. The first one is has to do with, okay, active engagement, which I think I've talked about that. Then the second one has to do with lullaby, please, songs. It is important. Then the third one has to do with reading and at night. That don't think that the child is not making sense of whatever you're doing. Okay, at that moment the brain is so neuroplastic. The plasticity potential of the brain at that moment is extremely high. So whatever a parent, okay, exposes, okay, his or her child to, the child picks the child picks it immediately, as fast as possible. And then the other one has to do with the school. As soon as this child, okay, starts school, it is important that the school system and its educators they focus on one. There's something called phonological awareness. Okay, phonology has to do with the study of sounds. Then phonological awareness is basically the study of or the integration of the speech sound system, okay, the speech sound into pedagogy. So it is expected that if the child is in a pre-nursery, a nursery, kindergarten, etc., that the teacher must be oral. That songs, A for apple, rhymes, okay, like twinkle twinkle little star, etc., okay, these are things that the teacher or the educator needs to really focus on in order to complement what the parents had already done, okay, for the child at home. As soon as the school does this, it is going to really, all those words, those songs and others will contribute to creating a formidable both language, and it is going to prepare the brain for reading. Then the other one has to do with, okay, expressive and receptive vocabulary. Yes, here too it is important that the school system exposes, okay, the child to different things like objects, names of foods, okay, like apple, cat, okay, etc. As soon as the school does this, naturally, okay, the child's language system is going to be formidable. Then the architecture that is going to support reading would have been laid down. So naturally, the child is going to pick up reading. So these are ideas that are connected, okay, to developmental and background knowledge. Thank you so much for your time, and I shall see you in the next video.